Junior Caminero is one of baseball's top prospects, and the Tampa Bay Rays have found an absolute diamond in him. So what's the 2024 season going to look like for Caminero? Well, first, he made his MLB debut last year, appeared in 7 games, and looked pretty solid. The slash line doesn't totally do it justice, but he had a hit in 6 of his 7 games that he played, also having a total of 7 RBIs, hit a double and a home run, his first career home run. And overall, he looks like he is a potential future star for the Tampa Bay Rays. So, what's in store for him in 2024 and beyond? We're not going to waste any time. Let's dive straight into it. My name is Derrik. You're watching Bleacher Brawls, and this is your Junior Caminero player profile. First things first, let's talk about how the Rays acquired Caminero. He was a guy that the Rays did not draft. He was not a guy that the Rays signed in international free agency, which he would have been because he is Dominican. However, they acquired him by trade from the Cleveland Guardians, and if you want to do a little bit of a trade tree here, a little quick trade tree, his acquisition goes back to the Rays drafting Tim Beckham in 2008, selecting him first overall. He struggled. They traded him to the Orioles for Tobias Myers in July of 2017, as they didn't want to let him go for quote-unquote nothing. And then in November of 2021, they traded Myers to Cleveland for Junior Caminero. At the time, when they traded for Junior Caminero, he was a baby, pretty much. I mean, that's kind of how you have to put it. Caminero at the time in 2021, when the Rays traded for him, he was just 18 years old. Just 18. He's only 20 right now. He turns 21 this year, but he was only 18 when the Rays traded for him. And this is another case of almost similar to Fernando Tatis Jr. getting traded. Is sometimes teams, when you trade a guy that low in the minor leagues, you run the risk of them turning into a big star, and Cleveland missed out on Caminero. They traded him for Tobias Myers, and the Rays have struck gold with him. And Caminero, as of right now, he is ranked the number 4 prospect in all of baseball by MLB Pipeline. His scouting grades, he's got a 60 grade hit, 70 power, 50 run, 55 arm, and a 50 field, with an overall grade of 65. He's listed at 6'1", 157. He's only 20, like I said. Bats, throws right. Third baseman. Play a little bit of shortstop in a pinch. Probably will most likely be a third baseman, though. He didn't debut until 2021 in the Dominican Summer League due to COVID, where he hit 295, 385, 34, and he hit 9 homers in 43 games. And then that's what basically led the Rays end up trading for him. He ended up in the Rays system for his entire time playing pro ball in the United States. In 2022, he split time between rookie ball, where he played 36 games, and low A, where he played 26 games and had a combined 882 OPS. He had 11 homers, 23 walks, just 43 strikeouts in 62 games. But then 2023 was a really, really big year for him. He starts the year in high A, and 36 games in high A, slashes 356, 409, 685 for a 1094 OPS. He hit 11 homers in those 36 games, 9 doubles, 3 triples. Did have 40 strikeouts and just 10 walks, but overall he was really, really good. He got moved up to Double A, and then he played 81 games in Double A and just kept on raking with the slash line at 309, 373, 548 with a 921 OPS. And in those 81 games, he hit an additional 20 homers, along with 9 more doubles and 3 more triples. And also, too, in Double A, in those 81 games, only struck out 60 times, and he walked 32 times as well. Very, very solid year, and for the whole year, for 117 games, the 975 OPS, he hit 31 homers, and he had 94 RBIs, 100 strikeouts in 117 games. It's actually pretty solid. And then 42 walks. It's a little bit lower than maybe some would love, but overall, it's okay. He did make his big league debut, like I said, played 7 games. The slash line, 235, 278, 353, doesn't show it as true of justice as it really is, because like I said, he got a hit in 6 of his 7 games that he played. He had a hit in each of his first 3 games. Then he didn't have a hit in his 4th game. Then in his last 3 games, he had 1 hit and then 2 hits, and then 2 hits in his last game on October 1st against Toronto, where he hit his first career homer. And then he did play in 2 games in the playoffs, 2 at-bats, 2 pinch hit opportunities. He went 0 for 2. But the Rays trusting him to put him on the postseason roster considering the fact that he had never played above Double-A, minus the 7 games he got in the big leagues at the end of the season. That shows a lot of trust in a guy who, at the time, just turned 20, not long before, like just a couple months earlier. So overall, I think when you look at the whole situation for the Rays with Caminero, I think the fact that they showed that much trust in him shows that he has a very good chance at making the big league roster this year. Fangraphs does not have him slated for the big league roster, as they have Yandy Diaz at first and Isaac Paredes at third base. Where he fits in with that is to be seen. And I think for the Rays, when you look at what he did last year, he played 3 games at third, 2 at short, 1 at second base. How that all ends up, who knows? The Rays have had injury issues. Guys like a Brandon Loud's had injury issues. Maybe he could end up playing some second base. Maybe they did trade for Jose Caballero to be their shortstop, and they do have Ahmed Rosario, who they just recently signed. So that may not be the best option at short. But Paredes, and I'm pretty sure Paredes can play a little bit of first base. Yandy Diaz can DH at times. So they'll find, I think there's a very good chance he makes the big league roster. I think it's a very solid chance. I don't think it's a lock. I don't think he's like a Jackson Chourio kind of lock. Maybe Jackson Holiday even has a higher chance of making the big league roster than him, maybe. But I think Caminero should be on the big league roster, if not on opening day, very, very early in the season, and it's for good reason. He's one of, like I said, he's ranked the 4th overall prospect in baseball. He's one of the best prospects in baseball. He showed last year in that, he could dominate in the lower levels in the minors and in Double-A. Maybe the Rays want to give him a little bit of seasoning in Triple-A because, like I said, he has not played there. You look at, the guy we shall not speak of, the name we shall not say, former Ray, obviously, who may never play in the big leagues again, but they let him sit in Triple-A until they felt he was absolutely ready to be called up. Although at the time they did have Willie Adames at shortstop, so who knows what the situation will look like for Caminero. So yeah, he could be sent down. But when he does come up, he should be ready to play in the big leagues, and he's going to be a really fun talent for a really long time. And like I said, he can rake. He absolutely rakes. And I think when you look at this long-term for the Rays, it's the guy who they would probably like to get locked up long-term. It's funny, it's another guy they took from Cleveland. Obviously, they traded for Yandy Diaz from Cleveland. Now it's Caminero coming up through the system, although most of his development was with the Rays, but Cleveland still traded him to the Rays, so it's gonna suck a little bit for Cleveland when you kind of look back at it and think revisionist history. But you can't really. But at the same time, hindsight's 2020. The Rays have done a really good job with Caminero, really good job developing him, making sure he's turned out into the player that he has, and I'm excited to see what could come for him. His projections for 2024 are a little bit all over the place, depending on where you look. But the projection, the Fangraphs projections has him about a 106 weighted runs created plus in 57 games. But then you have the Zips projections that have him at a 96 weighted runs created plus, but they have him playing 122 games. But then you also have the Steamer projections, which are also 57 games, like Fangraphs, but a 116 weighted runs created plus. So we'll see where he falls in the mix. When you look at his whole entire career in his minor leagues, you look at in the DSL with Cleveland in 2021, he had a 144 weighted runs created plus. 2022 in the Complex League in the 36 games is a 147. 2022 and continuing in 2022 in Low A, it was a 137. Then last year in High A in the 36 games, it was a 190, and then 81 games in Double A, 140 weighted runs created plus. Like I said, he can absolutely rake. He's raked at every single level. There's no reason to not believe it's going to continue. And the Rays have a very, very, very good young player for their long-term future, and it's the Rays. They always figure it out. They always figure out how to bring talent up, get new good players, new star players, new great players, and Caminero seems like one of those guys who's going to be a good player for the Rays for a long, long time. But I think that's a great place to wrap this thing up. So there's your Junior Caminero player profile. Not a super, super deep dive on him, obviously. We don't want to have these things go for 20, 30, 40 minutes. But nice little overview on him. She should be, like I said, I think he does make the Rays big league roster for opening day. But if not, it should be soon. Very bright future for him, and I can't wait to see what he does in the big leagues. So make sure to check out all our content. We're doing team profiles, part of our 40 videos in 40 days that we've started, so check all that out. Check out our links in the description. Check out, like I said, the team profiles and whatnot. Rays fans, or just prospect fans in general. Let us know your thoughts on Caminero down in the comments. And thanks for tuning in. My name is Derek. You're watching Bleacher Brawls, and we will see you next time.